There is a story, probably apocryphal but irresistible, that the citizens of Königsberg used to set their watches by Immanuel Kant. Every afternoon, he walked the same route at precisely the same time. He never married. He rarely left his hometown. He lived a life of extraordinary regularity and almost superhuman discipline. And from that quiet, ordered life came ideas so powerful that they revolutionized philosophy, ideas that Kant himself said woke him from a dogmatic slumber. Immanuel Kant was born in 1724 in Königsberg, in what is now Russia, but was then Prussia. He spent almost his entire life there. He was a small man, frail in health, deeply methodical, and he was obsessed with a question that had been tearing philosophy apart for 2 centuries: how is genuine knowledge possible? By Kant's time, two great traditions had emerged. The rationalist, Descartes, Leibniz, Spinoza, believed that reason alone, independent of experience, could give us genuine knowledge about reality. Pure reason could prove the existence of God, establish the nature of the soul, tell us how the world fundamentally is. The empiricists, Locke, Berkeley, and especially David Hume, argued the opposite. All knowledge comes from experience. We begin as blank slates, the senses write on us, there is no innate knowledge, and then Hume pushed this to a devastating conclusion. He showed that concepts like causation, the idea that one thing causes another, cannot be derived from experience. You see one billiard ball hit another and another move. You see this happen repeatedly, but you never actually see the connection, the necessity. Causation is a habit of mind, not an observable fact. If causation is not grounded in experience and it's not given by reason alone, then where does it come from? And if we can't ground causation, what becomes of science? Kant read Hume, and he was shaken. He saw the crisis. Hume had threatened to dissolve the foundations of scientific knowledge. Kant's life's work was a response, a revolutionary one. Kant's great insight, the Copernican Revolution in philosophy, as he called it, was this: instead of asking how the mind conforms to the world, ask how the world conforms to the mind. Our minds don't passively receive reality, they actively structure it. We impose space, time, and causation on our experience. These are not features of the world as it is in itself. They are the lenses through which we necessarily perceive everything. What this means is that we can have genuine, universal knowledge about the world as we experience it, the phenomenal world. Science is real and reliable because the structures of our mind are universal. All humans experience through the same cognitive architecture: space, time, the categories of understanding like causation and substance. This is why mathematics and physics work. They describe the structure our minds impose on experience, not the world as it is in itself. But, and this is crucial, we can never know the world as it is independent of our experience. The thing in itself, the Ding an sich, remains forever beyond our reach. We always see through the lens of our own cognition. Kant called his major work The Critique of Pure Reason, published in 1781. It is famously difficult. Even his contemporaries complained about its density, but its argument is breathtaking in its scope. It draws a careful map of human knowledge, what we can know, and why, and where the limits lie. And those limits matter deeply, because when reason tries to go beyond experience, when it tries to prove God's existence, or demonstrate the immortality of the soul, or establish whether the universe had a beginning, it runs into antinomies, contradictions where equally valid arguments can be made for opposite conclusions. We can prove the universe had a beginning and prove it didn't. We can argue for free will and against it. When reason overreaches, it ties itself in knots. This doesn't mean God doesn't exist or that we have no freedom. It means we cannot know these things through theoretical reason. They lie beyond the limit of possible knowledge. But Kant was not finished. He turned to morality, and here he produced ideas just as revolutionary. His fundamental question: is there an objective moral law, something that commands us not because of our desires or consequences, but simply because it is right? Kant's answer is yes, and his name for it is the categorical imperative. Unlike a hypothetical imperative, if you want X, do Y, the categorical imperative says simply, do this, period, regardless of what you want. He formulates it in several ways, the most famous being, act only according to that maxim whereby you can at the same time will that it should become a universal law. In other words, before acting, ask, what if everyone did this? If you're thinking of lying to gain an advantage, ask, what if everyone lied whenever convenient? The institution of trust and communication would collapse. You cannot universalize lying without contradiction. Therefore, lying is wrong, not because of its consequences, but because of its logical structure. A second formulation, act so that you treat humanity, whether in your own person or that of another, always as an end and never as a means only. Never use people merely as tools for your purposes. Respect their rational autonomy. This is the foundation of human dignity. Every person, as a rational being, has inherent worth that must be respected. Kantian ethics is demanding. It says that good intentions are what matter, not outcomes. A doctor who lies to a patient to spare them pain is still doing wrong, even if the outcome is better. The rightness of an action depends on the principle, not the result. Kant died in 1804, still in Königsberg, age 79. His last words reportedly were, "Es ist gut, it is good." His influence on everything that followed, on German idealism, on liberal political theory, on ethics and the philosophy of mind, is incalculable. John Rawls's theory of justice, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the very language we use about human dignity and moral law, all bear Kant's fingerprints. He gave us something precious and difficult, a philosophy that says you can be rational and humble at the same time, that you can know a great deal about the world of experience while acknowledging that the ultimate nature of reality lies beyond your grasp, and that morality is not about calculating outcomes or following instincts. It is about the dignity of persons, the universality of reason, and the quiet, uncompromising demand to do what is right. Next time we meet a philosopher who agreed with almost none of this and who wrote with the force of a thunderstorm, Friedrich Nietzsche is next.